What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with all the Flat Earth Debate pre-show and after-show goodness. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. We're about to start the first live show of the day in about 10 minutes time. In the meantime, we do have Slick James Johnson with us. How you doing, Slick?
Hey, what's going on, Nathan? How are you, sir?
I'm very well indeed. Well, kind of okay, I suppose. My wife just got back from a scan, so we're expecting our second child any time now. And she came back said, "Oh, they've booked me in to have a cesarean." I'm like, "Oh, great." So if it doesn't come naturally in the next week, they've said, "Well, we'll make it come," as in scalpels will come out, which isn't particularly great news if I'm honest. But there we go. At least on the positive side, I know I'll have a second kid, hopefully, all being well, in about a week from now.
So you're probably going through a stressful time right now, I guess.
Yeah, it's a little bit stressful. It's not so much stressful. It's just kind of, not what I was hoping for. You hope that they'll go in and they'll say, "Yeah, everything's coming along nicely. Yes, should come any time," or whatever. Instead of that, it's like, "No, nothing's happening. You can't be induced because it's too risky." Blah 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 blah. So great. So probably going to be a C-section, a second one. So the first one was an emergency C-section. This will be a scheduled C-section. But I don't know. Nobody wants to watch their wife chopped up. I don't.
I understand. So you may get a call right in the middle of a show, or
No, she's on maternity leave anyway. So she left work maybe a week ago, maybe a bit longer, 2 weeks ago. I forget. Yeah, 2 weeks I think. And so yeah, I thought by now she'd have gone into labour, but she hasn't. So they've just got like I say, repeated scans between now and next Friday.
Oh, I see. So this way you don't have to be too concerned about a surprise. I got you.
No. Well, it'd be nice that surprise came. It'd be great if she went into labour now, and I could end the show and come back with a new baby. But it doesn't look like it's going to happen.
I understand.
So yeah, mixed bag.
I was just going to say, forgive me for sounding so naive about this stuff, but it's been a while since I've been involved in the child thing happening.
Yeah, it's mixed emotions at this stage of the game. You don't know what's going to happen. I keep saying to my wife, it's one way you've got to kind of prepare for the worst as well. Yes, it's exciting. You have baby showers and people sending you cards and clothes and things. And it's like, well, until the baby's actually here. And I said this with my firstborn. It's like, obviously you're going to be emotional if that doesn't happen for some reason or another. But you've got to kind of prepare yourself for that. If that was the case, you just try again, don't you? But without sounding flippant about it, you've got to kind of be fairly hard-nosed to the possibility that something could go disastrously wrong. And again, I said this to my wife last time, I was like, my main priority isn't actually the baby at this stage. The baby's not here yet, and you are. So, ideally, you don't want to be going under the knife. It's major surgery. But there we go.
So that's very interesting that you say that the way you did, because what it sounded like was that it's better to just go with the experience as it presents itself rather than having too many expectations. Did that sound about right?
Well, yeah. Obviously, the first expectation would be that a baby arrives at the end of it. That is sort of most people's expectation. Whereas I'm saying something slightly different, which is to say, don't necessarily have that as the fait accompli, the overall outcome regardless, because then if it doesn't happen for whatever reason, and there's obviously lots of reasons why something could go wrong during childbirth, you kind of accept that might be a possibility just so you're prepared, and then it's it's even more joyous when nothing goes wrong or if limited things go wrong.
Well, you just messed up my whole theory there. Thank you.
Yeah. I realised while I was saying it.
I I understand really. I was trying to make a off point, but that's fine.
I realised.
Sort of a way to start off the conversation because what I'm experiencing is a lot of like last night I was talking to Kosho on Discord. Well, I was trying to talk to Kosho anyway, but there was always the 5 or 6 trolls who just won't let you have a conversation. And they just kept on trying to interrogate. And at some point, they all just started laughing and like high-fiving each other, talking about, we got him. And they were just, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Got what? We got you. Did you hear what you said? I said, no. Well, we got you. It's over. I'm like, man, these people are absolutely incredible. So I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't know what it is with these gotcha moments. It's like it seems like every time I'm talking to somebody, I always have to be on guard for every word I say. And if I slip and say something out of habit, all of a sudden there's this victories dance going on. I'm like, man.
Yeah, because they want to
So
confirm. They're looking for confirmation bias, and you getting something wrong means, well, your assertions that it's not a sphere are incorrect. Hooray! It's still a sphere.
yeah. That's what it sounds like. But and this is the thing that gets me. If they're so sure about their sphere, why do they look for these victories?
Because they're not.
That's the part.
Well,
Yeah.
because they're not. Those are the people that I talk about when I say, well, they're here, as opposed to Joe Normal, who's not. Joe Normal doesn't need convincing it's a sphere. That's why he can be so flippant and just follow the programming and ridicule it instantaneously without giving it a second thought. Of course, we're on a sphere, and then they get on with their day, not giving it any concern. These guys give it a huge amount of concern, don't they? Right?
Right.
Isn't that
Right.
telling?
Okay, I get it. I get it. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. And that's why, remember, I said on another show at some point, I said, I don't think remember, I was saying, I don't think these people really, now I'm going to say that word believe, I don't think they believe in their product, right? I think that's why they're so scared. They're scared that they're not on a sphere.
Yeah, I completely agree. They're fighting against it.
Yeah.
But they
Like
see that
Brenda,
as, obviously they can't fight against one of the biggest lies in mankind's history, but they can fight you.
right? That's what Brenda's doing, right?
I
Brenda's
don't
fight.
know.
She's scared.
She's got a lot of different demons.
Right. But I'm just saying, as far as the sphere thing goes, she's scared that she's not on a sphere. It's like she's trying to convince herself that she's on a sphere.
Yeah. Well, they all are because they're not.
And as experience goes, this gets more and more interesting. I got to tell you.
Yeah, I'd agree. But those are our customers, if you will, our target audience. Are those people that are in the mindset to question, but are fighting against it. They're on their way. They're suffering the 5 stages of loss because deep down they know it's not a globe. That's just my humble opinion. Deep down,
Uh,
they'd obviously on the surface say no. You don't be ridiculous, and then pour out the ridicule that's sort of falling back on the programming because they can't not recognise it. Most of them are watching all of the flat Earth videos. In other words, they're absolutely hooked, more than some of the flat earthers I know.
but you know what? They are a step ahead of the ones that are just saying, of course, we're on a sphere and go on with their day. These people are a step ahead of them
Yeah, they're
because,
on their journey. That's
you
what I
know what I
mean.
mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. They're going through the 5 stages of loss, and
Right.
they're one step further along. Even if that step is anger or whatever, it doesn't matter. The point being that yes, Joe Normal may not even be aware that this is an issue, so therefore he's far more content. They're the people stuck in the matrix. If you use that analogy, they've not even been offered the pill.
Right. Right, because along with that story, that's the one like when Morpheus was talking to Neo, he was saying most people are not unplugged and they will do everything that they can to defend the system. Now that would seems like that would be those people that are just going on about their normal day.
Yes. Well,
Right.
also Stinky Cash did a video, and in the video he showed the 5 minute fight scene from They Live, and in that fight scene he's using the analogy that it's the struggle between you and somebody who you are trying to open their eyes to the truth. And he gave his
Right.
example of going into a Facebook page, and they were talking about the 1,000 or 10,000 pictures released from NASA recently, and he said, well, it's all fake, and gave his reasons. And he's just telling the truth, and the reasons he gave he didn't disclose in that video, but that wasn't the point. The point being that the people who he's commenting to then say you shouldn't have children, you should have your balls removed, you should go kill yourself, all these horrible things, simply for saying the truth. And the whole time he's saying this, he's got Roddy Piper and that black guy whose name I don't remember having the massive fight scene. Do you know what I'm
I saw,
talking about?
I saw that particular video. I know which one you're talking about.
Right. So he's all he's trying to do in that scene, for anybody who's not watched They Live, is he's kind of a nomad, and he's living in a world of psychopaths, and the only way you can see the psychopaths or the fake subliminal advertising, which is probably the clip that most people remember when the guy puts the glasses on, everything goes black and white, and you can see, trust your government and things like that on the billboards. Well, all he's trying to do is get the other character to put the glasses on. That's all he's trying to do. Look at the world around you. Look at what's really happening. Obviously, it's a metaphor, but nevertheless, the guy fights him for 5 minutes, and
Right.
does everything he possibly can to not put the glasses on, because he doesn't want to open his eyes to the real world, and he doesn't want to have that truth thrust upon him. He sees it as a deep imposition to have that pushed upon him. Hey, Chocolate.
Good
Hey
morning, guys.
Chuck,
Good morning.
what's happening? What's happening?
Good timing.
Breakfast
Just about to
food.
start.
Wow, that makes a lot of sense. And that's why they put that scene like that to show that it's harder to get one person just to do such a simple act as open their eyes
Well,
and see.
just before I start the live show, so I was just about to, but I'll just put this in. It's easier to lie to somebody than convince them that they have been lied to.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon, and crypto link in the info box below the video. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum. But most importantly, if you would like to join this discussion right now, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on Facebook and Twitter. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now, we are joined by Slick James Johnson and Chocolate Satan. How you both doing?
Good morning. Good morning.
Chocolate clearly engaged in work-related business. Let's do a bit of housekeeping. Always good when there's only a couple of people on. We get rattle our way through it in no time at all. Any signs of
Good
Earth
morning.
curvature?
Good morning. Sorry.
Hey, Chocolate. Any signs of Earth curve?
It's all a belief.
Indeed.
Not a smidgen.
What about axial rotation while you got your mic open?
It's that same belief.
Even less than that.
Any scientific evidence of gravity?
It's the same belief. Even the aberration claim is all a belief.
What about the distance to the sun?
I'd like to chime in on this one and take a couple seconds to say that the sun is where it needs to be for experience.
Jolly good.
Somebody's.
What about evidence of a gas pressure being maintained without the necessary antecedent of a container for all those people who believe in the vacuum of the sky, otherwise known as outer space? Any evidence of a gas pressure without a container?
Well, like I said, they say they have this aberration that holds everything down and into itself and keeps it separated from the vast infinite of. Yeah, sure, something like that. I think the story goes.
Something like
it's
that.
it's just a belief.
Yeah, I don't believe in sky vacuums. So,
Hey, Paul.
so it's proven.
Hey, Paul.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Very good to
Yes.
have you.
Does it sound good? Because I'm trying the Yeti. I don't think it's on. Hang on a second.
Yeah, it sounds ace. Make sure you're on the
Oh,
little, the heart-shaped one on the back switch. So there's like all different shapes, but one of them looks like a heart or a bum, fanny, whatever you call it in the States.
Oh, actually, I just switched over. It was on my Bluetooth. Now I think it's over on the Yeti.
Oh, that
How does that
sounds miles better.
Nice and clear, nice and clear.
Okay, good. I'm actually standing not too far away. It's laying on my counter, and my laptop's up on up above me a little bit with the mouse. So it's just going to be hard for me to run back and forth if I have to run over to do something. So
Sure.
holler at me. Just give me a second to get back if I have to run away or something.
No worries. But you can use the mute button. You can actually, although it makes a clicky sound, that doesn't fuss me as much as feedback and such, but you can just use the button on the front of it, which is really handy. Hello, Wiggles. How you doing?
Hello.
Hello, good to have you.
Well,
Can you say something else just so I can level you up? Oh, Wiggles, give us a few more words.
yeah. I was just trying to connect to the show. The link didn't seem to work for me for the first time, so I missed the. Was it the your checklist in the morning that you do?
Yeah, it's all working now. Should be okay. You've got in, okay.
Oh yeah, it seemed to work.
Cool. Excellent. Only got a couple
Wiggle,
more.
good to see you alive, brother.
Yeah, indeed.
Oh, I.
If you disappear off the scene for more than 10 days, then people consider you dead for some reason.
Oh,
I don't
no.
know why.
I was just working. Like I had a lot of work.
Sure. Normal things. I don't have that viewpoint if someone doesn't appear for a couple of days or a couple of weeks. Anyway, any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
That's
Yeah.
just
I'm not the person to ask for that.
No one is.
It's
We've
just
only
an-
dug 12k.
Well, really, the reason I just kind of come on the show is because just because like the evidence that Earth is not flat. That's really only the evidence I'm really interested in.
The evidence that Earth is not flat.
Yeah, that's like just like the basic kind of stuff like that. I don't really get into like the composition of Earth or like anything like that.
Oh, fair enough. I mean, I'll ask the last question in housekeeping, see how you get on. You might have an answer, you might not. That's fair enough either way. Any evidence of the R value, Earth radius, used to hijack perspective?
Nah, just
Yeah.
another belief.
Well, I mean, like that one experiment I did, like I tried to explain it on another show I was watching, and I didn't really explain it very well. But yeah, like I did a viewing experiment where like I could see an island from one elevation, I couldn't see it from another, and that kind of gives you, like, if the Earth is a sphere, that gives you an upper and lower bound on the radius of Earth, and yeah, that's like evidence in support of the radius value that we have. It's not like a direct proof of it, but it's evidence in support of it. So,
No, it's evidence that you can beg the question. You said if the Earth is a sphere.
yeah, it's evidence of an implication.
No. You've automatically assumed it is a sphere. You stated it quite clearly. If the Earth is a sphere, So you have automatically assumed your outcome. That's called begging the question. That's not suggesting everything. Showing a correlation that you can beg the question is nothing. It's not proof of anything. It's not suggesting anything. Just a logical fallacy. Begging the question.
Not really, no, because like my evidence, like what I can do directly myself was just I could find evidence that if Earth is a sphere, then the radius is within these values.
Yeah. If the Earth is a sphere, that's called begging the question. You're not going forth doing an investigation and it's discovering curvature. You're assuming the Earth is a sphere and then correlating your findings with your presupposition. That is, third time, begging the question.
No, not really, no, because my evidence like proves a statement of the form P implies Q.
Yeah, and your if P is if the Earth is a sphere. That's begging... Hello. How many times have I got to say this? Your presupposition is that the Earth is a sphere. That's why you use the statement, if the Earth is a sphere. That, by definition, is begging the question.
I'm not presupposing anything. I'm just saying this
Sorry,
is what
you
happens
used the words, if the Earth is a sphere. That is presupposing it. That's precisely what it's doing. What part of this isn't sinking in? It's the 6th time I've said it.
I'll try a different example then, I guess, Nathan. Like, say if I'm going to prove a statement about, like, the natural numbers. Like, I say if the numbers you multiply together are both odd, then the product is odd. Right? That's a statement you can prove in math. It's, like, dead simple. Right?
Mathematics, who cares?
Yeah, but it's like an analogy for what I'm doing here to kind of make it really clear. So if I say, like, if you multiply a pair
well, I
of
don't understand
numbers,
then, Wiggles. Why do we're talking about the physical and natural world? What difference does it make what you do in maths?
Oh, because it's like this is a completely analogous proof.
No, numbers are not analogous to the physical and natural world. Numbers are just numbers. That's maths.
I'm just trying to see, like, if you understand, like, the logic of what I'm saying. You don't seem to.
Yeah, I do. You're using logical fallacy. If the Earth is a sphere, begging the question, that's your logic. Fallacious. So don't tell me I don't understand the logic. I've told you this is the 7th time that your logic is fallacious. You haven't accepted it. You haven't challenged it. You've just done nothing except say the same thing again. Now you're saying I can use an analogy with maths. Well, no, we're only interested in the physical and natural world, not mathematics.
Math describes the real world. If you have
it
two
doesn't
apples,
explain
you
it.
add two more,
Yes,
you get
you
four.
can explain things with language, including maths, but it doesn't explain it. It doesn't actually give you...
It describes it.
Yeah, it doesn't explain it.
Theories explain it.
Yeah, you can describe things, but it doesn't explain things.
Well, theories explain it.
No, a theory, scientific theory, would that be?
Yes,
scientific theory is based on an adherence to the scientific method. I told you this yesterday when you wanted to jump forward to theory before we got an observer. Now you're talking over me. Why are you abusing me, Brenda? Shut your mouth. Don't abuse me here, Brenda. I've got a victim card too, haven't I? So shut your mouth while I talk. I don't want to have to hold up my victim card repeatedly now, do I, Brenda? So shut your mouth while I talk and listen to what I'm saying. Scientific theories come after an adherence or multiple adherences to the scientific method. Step 1 of that method is observer phenomena. So if you want to take me through the steps that have taken us to the theory, that would be an adherence or multiple adherences to the scientific method, then fine. We'll start with step 1. We won't jump straight to theory because they come after.
Go ahead, Wiggles.
Okay, yeah. So Nathan, I was just trying to use a really simple proof, kind of as an analogous, so we can establish how the thought process that I'm using goes.
I'm not interested in thought processes. Physical and natural world. Didn't I? Literally every word that I just said get ignored by Wiggles. It seems so.
No, it's not being ignored. I'm remembering what you say. I'm tabling it for later. It's like a snack I'm putting in my pocket for later, and then we.
You said the word proof. We talked about science. Maths isn't proving anything. It's describing things. Yeah.
Math proves things all the time. Math
No, it does not.
proof.
No, it proves things in maths.
That's the whole
It's the backbone
basis
of
of math.
mathematics.
No.
Yeah, it's proof.
Wrong.
No, it's not
Hey,
wrong.
Mark, hold on a second. Hey, Mark, how you doing?
You prove.
You need to mute your watch page, Mark.
Yeah,
So
good, thank you.
yeah, I do want to get to like the
Hold on,
evidence of,
Wiggles.
like the
Hold
radius
on.
value.
Mark, can you mute your watch page?
Done, sorry.
How you doing, Mark? Good to have you.
Yeah, so I do want to get like to talk about like the evidence that I had.
Wiggles.
Yeah.
Is your name Mark?
Oh no, I thought Mark was silent. Okay.
Yeah, I just need to say hello without his watch page, without a load of feedback, so I can actually level him up. That's all I want to do.
Okay, go for it. Yeah, sorry.
How
My
you
bad.
doing, Mark? Good to have you. Mark. Okie dokie then. Bye bye, Mark. Sorry, go ahead, Wiggles.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I was just trying to talk about like an analogous proof. So like Nathan, so if I have the statement like if a pair of numbers are multiplied together, then and they're odd, then the product is odd. Like, is that a fallacious statement?
You want to go to a maths forum? I'm not interested in this. This isn't a maths forum. Go and take your example to a maths forum. I'm not interested.
But you said my logic is fallacious, and this is an example.
Yeah, this is
where I'm
maths.
using the
We are interested
exact
for the
same
second
logic
time.
that
This is
I'm
the second
using.
time I've said it, Wiggles, and you're going to ignore it a second time, it seems. Physical
Logic is
and
mathematics.
natural world.
Logic is math.
That's lovely. I'm interested in the physical and natural world.
Well, then you're going to need logic and mathematics.
Yeah, very true. But Nathan, I'm wondering, like, if let's just consider the statement: if two numbers are odd, then their product is odd.
Go to a maths forum.
Is that a fallacious
Go
statement?
to a maths forum. Science,
Oh.
physical and natural world. See that mountain? No maths needed.
Well,
Seeing
Nathan,
the
is that
mountain
statement
isn't
I made,
science.
is it a fallacious statement?
Who cares? This isn't a maths forum.
No, but it's identical to what I'm talking about with the radius verse. Like if the Earth is round, then the radius is within these values.
If the Earth is round, is you begging the question and assuming your outcome?
No, it's not.
That's not begging the question.
If the Earth is round, is a presupposition that the Earth is round.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
It isn't.
Yes,
If
it
you
is.
say, if you say an if isn't a presupposition.
It is. It's your presupposition
No.
that the Earth
No,
is
it's
round.
not.
If the Earth is
If
round,
You say the Earth is round, that would be a presupposition.
yeah, you're trying to affirm the consequent. Your presupposition
not.
being if P. In this case,
No, he's
if
not.
R.
It's a conditional. It's not a presupposition.
Yeah, condition that it's round. You stupid idiot.
No, it's a conditional. It's
Yes,
a type
I
of-
understand. It's a
type of
condition that
statement.
must be adhered to for you to make your proof make sense. It's called affirming the consequent. Yes, I know
No,
what you are doing.
It's not. It's not affirming the consequence.
Yeah,
It's
stop
just-
your hand wave
it's just a
dismissal, Brenda.
conditional.
Stop your hand wave dismissal.
If thens are not affirming the consequent. And
No,
if then
not
is
if and
conditional.
then. If P, then Q. Q, therefore P.
But he's
If
not
P,
saying that.
I haven't finished. Stop abusing me, Brenda. I don't open my doors for people to come in and abuse me. Stop it. How dare you? Why
He's
are you
not
so
saying-
abusive?
no, you open
I'm
your
asking you a
doors
different
to-
question
to
now,
abuse
and
other
you're doing it
people.
again. You're abusing me again.
That's constantly
You're
what
being
you
so
do, is just
abusive.
abuse people.
You're being very abusive, and I want to know why. Why do you keep abusing me, Brenda?
Nobody's abusing you.
You keep
Nathan.
talking over me, Brenda, every time I'm in the middle of a sentence, trying to explain affirming the consequent, which isn't if P, then Q, as you asserted incorrectly. I corrected you and gave you the full logical fallacy. If P, then Q, Q, therefore P. An incorrect
But that-
statement, a logical
doesn't-
fallacy. There you go again, abusing me. Why are you so abusive, Brenda?
That
Why are you
doesn't
doing
mean
this?
That every sentence
I
that
like
begins
to
with
open my
if-
doors to make demonstrations of the abusive behaviour of people like Brenda. It's disgusting. These abusive types. Stop talking over me, Brenda. I don't like being
cry
abused
some
on my own show. Stop it, Brenda. Stop it.
Yeah, just cry some more.
Yeah? Oh, really? You feel that's a demonstration of me crying? No, Brenda. It's me holding a big fat mirror up to you and your stupid victim status.
No, I'm not claiming that.
No, I'm not claiming.
Now, just because every sentence begins with an if doesn't mean it's a affirming the consequent fallacy. You seem to think every sentence
Yeah,
that
you've
begins
ignored
with
what
if,
I've just said, haven't you? No,
Huh?
I didn't claim that any statement
Yes, you
starting
do.
with if isn't affirming the consequence. So you have
Yes, you do.
literally
You do
ignored
that.
me, and now you're getting abusive again. So I'll say it for a third time. Maybe you'd like to repeat it back to me. I have not declared that an affirming the consequent just starts with if. It's if P, then Q, Q, therefore P.
That is the definition of an affirming the consequent fallacy.
Right. Begging the question fallacy, on the other hand, that would be assuming your outcome. Like saying, if the Earth is a sphere.
That's not. That's not.
Nathan, just to, I guess maybe to add to the discussion, I will state right now that if the Earth is flat, I should see Bacaloo Island from the beach where I live.
Oh, really?
And
what factors?
Yeah.
What factors have you taken in to make that conclusion?
Is that affirming the consequent?
I haven't
fallacy?
spoken to you,
Well, it's
Brenda.
funny,
I'm talking to Wiggles.
Did he-
Brenda,
did he just
Brenda,
make
stop
affirming
abusing
the
the whole
consequent
panel.
fallacy?
It seems you can't help but abuse the entire panel. I'm trying to talk to Wiggles. Now, maybe you hadn't been taught this as a child, but when other people talk, you be quiet. Okay, Brenda? Stop abusing the whole panel. Okay, go ahead,
Hello.
Wiggles. We'll hopefully not get interrupted again by Brenda.
Hello.
Hello, Arwin. Good to have you.
Chris also here.
Oh, hey, Chris.
Morning.
Sorry, Wiggles. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, so I claim that if the Earth is flat, I should see Bacaloo Island from the beach where I live. And it's funny how when I say that, Nathan, you're not accusing me of any fallacies assuming the Earth is flat.
No, I asked you to give me the reasons you've come to that conclusion, and you've just repeated the statement.
Well,
Yeah,
it's
well-
definitely.
And there
it's
goes
definite-
Brenda abusing the panel again. Is your name
No,
Wiggles, Brenda?
It's definitely.
Is your name
abuse-
Wiggles? That wasn't the
definitely
question I asked
affirming
you.
the consequent
Yeah, she just wants to abuse the
fallacy.
panel. She's come here to be abusive. Do I have to remove
If the
you for
Earth
your
is
abuse?
flat, I should
I
see
don't
the
want to
island
tolerate
from
this abuse
from the
anymore.
beach.
I've had my fun
I see
holding
the
the mirror
island
up to
from
this
the beach,
abusive
therefore the
person.
Earth is flat.
Now I'm going to just eject her if she doesn't stop abusing Wiggles. Stop abusing him. Go ahead, Wiggles.
Yeah, well, that's really all I was going to say, right? Because like, if the Earth is flat, there would be no water.
Yeah, I don't want the
obstructing
third
distant
repetition of it. I want you to give your reasons for that conclusion.
Well, because I would just be able to see straight across.
No, that's just a declaration. That's not a reason. So you've just got a declaration. I'll just hand wave dismissal then if you've got no evidence to back it. Hey, Jose.
Oh.
I mean, I just came in for 1 second. I want to tell you, Nathan, personally, you have to stop projecting, abusing your guesses, and letting the other panelists talk. Stop projecting, you piece of shit. If people want to see a fair platform, go to my channel and stop watching this shit where Nathan sucks the air out of you motherfuckers and you let him
Stop
do
swearing.
it. Bro.
Right, let's kick Jose out because he wants to come and swear. Bye-bye. Sorry.
Yeah, I was actually going to check out Jose's channel.
Wow.
Anyway, so...
Yeah, you can actually
no,
have
Brenda, we're still not talking to
his
you.
channel.
Brenda, I
you
still
can
haven't had
actually
an
have
answer.
conversations on
I've
his
had a
channel, unlike
declaration
with-
and
with-
3 repetitions of the same assertion, Wiggles. So, what makes you come to that conclusion other than your declaration and assertion?
Well, Nathan, actually, what I was doing was I was kind of tricking you a little bit because I made a claim of the form P implies Q.
You haven't
and it
tricked
said
me,
that-
you stupid dick. I'm asking you to back your claim. I haven't accepted a damn thing. I'm asking you to actually provide evidence. If it was just a trick, well, your assertion hasn't tricked anybody. You haven't backed it, you stupid fool.
But no, this is great because when I say, like, let's just be clear, like,
So this is a gotcha. So this is a crap gotcha. Is that what you're telling me, Wiggles? Hey, 10th man. Hey, AJ.
This is a crap. Have you go? Oh, hello, how are you, Ness?
A crap gotcha. That's what he's telling
Sounds
us.
like you did.
trying to catch me out, accusing him of logical fallacy. And when I didn't,
But Nick,
he didn't know what to
Nathan,
do. He didn't know what to do. Didn't know how to go and back up any of his claims. And then when I tried to pin him to some sort of evidence for his claim, actually, no, this is just a gotcha. This is just me trying to catch you out. What's your evidence?
I caught you.
What is your I'm done with you, Wiggles. I'm asking you something. You've asked me. Your crap gotcha's failed. Now you ask me. Now you answer me. What is your evidence for your fundamentalist belief in a sphere Earth? Go.
So now we're just like completely forgetting about my 2 claims that I made.
You haven't backed them with evidence. You've repeated them 4 times. Are you going to back them with evidence, or can we move on?
Well, it's funny because when I made the claim about if Earth is flat, I should see the island. Then you asked me quite properly, like, okay, well, support that claim. But then when I claim that if Earth is round, then the radius falls within these 2 values, then you said I was assuming Earth was round.
Yeah, you've already got a radius. The Earth is obviously and observably flat. But you asserting that you've already got a presupposition of a radius value is begging the question.
No. Like maybe just to be like clear, I might take like 10 or 20 seconds and just write out my claims. So P implies Q, and then S implies, just use some letters. F implies S. Why not? I'll just like share my screen.
This is gonna turn out to be really stupid.
Well, no, it's going to turn out to be logically sound.
Yeah.
Screen share. Here.
Flat earthers don't do logic.
Glober's
Generally,
doing curvature. You guys can't.
Can I just say something, please?
Yeah, so I got like a form, or I'll change that to R, and I'll change that to.
Can I just say something, please, panel?
He's not displaying. He's not sharing your screen.
Who isn't?
No, then my screen is not on the show. Okay, well, I'm sharing my screen for people to see here, I guess. So
what are you trying to tell us? What are you sharing? What are you telling us?
I mean, Nathan isn't going to let you do anything. I mean, you just have to understand he's
right. That's it, Brenda. You get out. Stop telling the panel what I'm going to do. I'm going to kick you out. That's what I'm going to do. Stop telling the panel what I'm going to do. You obviously want to be me. You talk for me. Now I'm going to kick you out. That's the last time you talk for me, Brenda. I'll decide what happens here. What he does or does not do is entirely up to him. What I produce, how I produce my show is up to me. Oh, my bad. I'm being rumpus by my panel again.
You know what you're doing, man. When you come into Nathan's panel, you know what you're in for when you come on Nathan's panel. If you don't like it, go to Jose's channel.
So, I just want to get this point out of the way with Wiggles. Sorry, what is your actual assertion?
Okay, so I just made 2 assertions. I put them on my screen. Okay, yeah, it's on the show. So, so I just made 2. I made 2 statements, right? Like R implies V, and F implies S. I made those 2 claims.
Woohoo! So what? Why would you say either? I asked you for evidence, and you didn't give any. So what are you saying? What's your point?
Well, my point is when I claimed R implies V, then you accused me of assuming R.
Yeah! You've got it written down!
Yeah, okay.
So you're automatically assuming Earth is a sphere with a radius value printed on screen. So let me get this straight. You're trying to make this as an argument that somehow you've got me when I say you've assumed Earth has a radius value. You're assuming R. And then you bring it up on screen and there it is on there. V equals radius of Earth. And then the fucking value.
No, Nathan, no.
Yeah. It's on screen. I'll circle it for the audience. Just for this dick who thinks somehow he's won a point with this crap.
I told you this was going to be stupid.
You stupid idiot. Wiggles, you are dense.
Am I?
Yeah, now you're going to mutter away, you stupid idiot.
Stupid idiot is redundant.
Yeah, you've assumed your outcome. You've begged the question. You've assumed Earth has a radius. You even have the number up. What a dick.
No, what I also made the claim F implies S, where F is the statement Earth is flat.
And
so, are you going to accuse me of assuming F?
Assuming what? If you got a value for F, what's the F value?
No, these are Nathan. These are like,
answer my question, you stupid deaf idiot. What is the value of F?
The value of F is false.
Sorry, false. That's a value, is it? You stupid dick. So you've got a value for a spherical radius, a very specific thing, a very specific detailed thing with a value and a number that you will presuppose. But when you say F, there's no comparison, there's no presupposed value, it's just the obvious and observable nature of our reality, which is a perfectly acceptable axiom, as opposed to a presupposition of a sphere radius value. Very different. You don't have a comparison, you don't have an F value that I'll slip into the mathematics, do you?
Well, Nathan, what these are
do you?
Atomic
do you have an F value or not? Don't laugh. Just say no, Nathan. It's a false equivalence. I presuppose an R value, which is a very specific thing, a measured radius with a number. But when I compare it to something that I say is equally fallacious, the F value, there isn't one.
Fail.
I think F value might be a cool meme. I don't know.
I think you get an F, Wiggles.
You complete
Your F
idiot.
value is
Did you think you got me there, Wiggles? Did you think you won a point, you stupid retard? Because you didn't. You showed my audience that you know how to assume there's a radius value. Precisely what I accused you from when you came in. Now I want a concession from this globetard zealot that he is in fact begging the question. And there it is on screen. I'll circle it for the audience. Radius of Earth.
No, V is a atomic sentence. It's a logical proposition.
It's a begging the question fallacy. You are so stupid. You are so stupid, Wiggles.
Well, Nathan, have you ever done like any sort of like logic course or anything?
Why
like
aren't you accepting that you are begging the question with that value, with that R value?
No, Nathan, this is not. V is not a number here. V is not like even a subset of the real line. V
radius
is
of Earth.
It
says radius of Earth. So let me get it correct. In this value, you would be assuming that you have a spherical value.
Well, I should use this notation.
You're not answering me,
My
Wiggles.
notation is a bit sloppy.
You're not answering me. You are assuming you have a spherical value. Correct. I don't know why I'm even asking you. You are begging the question, you stupid idiot.
Well, stupid idiot is redundant. I mean,
yeah,
you just call me
when you
idiot,
don't concede 6 times, 7 times, 8 times, and then you put the very begging the question fallacy on screen like you think you've won a point, that makes you stupid. You don't have to like it. You're just stupid. Often stupid people don't recognise their own stupidity. It's called Dunning-Kruger.
I agree. Wholeheartedly, I agree, Nathan. But, like...
Yeah, that's you, right now.
Nathan, so what I was doing, I was claiming 2 things. I was claiming R implies V, and I was claiming F implies S. Now, when I claimed R implies V, then you accused me of claiming R.
Yeah. Do you want me to do it again? There it is. But when a presupposed spherical value. How many times have I got to say this for this utter idiot?
Wiggles, you really didn't get how you actually got yourself. You didn't get anybody here. You got yourself.
I'd like to get to the end of
not
what I
even
was trying to say.
realizing that.
So, like, when I asserted that F implies S, it was very curious that Nathan
What's the F value? What's the F value? Well, you're going to keep repeating this crap and not addressing anything I say to challenge it. What's the F value? Curious. What's the F value you'll put into the mathematics comparable to the R value you'll presuppose? What's that value, Wiggles?
Nathan, F is not. It's not a value.
It's not comparable. It's not comparable. You don't have a value, so F is meaningless then. Just something you assert. It's not actually a value you're going to plug into a mathematical formula like you'll do with R, so it's not comparable.
It's just a shorthand for the sentence "Earth is flat."
Yeah, right. Our values aren't a shorthand sentence for the obviously and observably fact-based statement that we are on a flat plane. Now, your assertion that we're not comes with a presupposition.
Well, my assertion that we're not is just based on like that I can't see distant objects because the ocean gets in the way.
Well, then the ocean's got in the way.
Yeah, so that means the surface of the ocean isn't flat.
No, it's not.
Yes, I agree. Oh, good.
Yeah, can you see it on screen now? Does it look flat to you, or does it look like it's moving and there's waves and is quite dynamic?
Oh yeah, it's got some ripples in it.
So sod all to do with Earth curve then, and everything to do with the dynamic nature of the water you're looking over getting in the way. Shout out to Leonardo Gonzalez for the super chat. Hey, there's been another super chat. Sorry, I've missed somebody's super chat.
Wiggles, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, well, I was just talking about like the flatness of the ocean, but I just wanted to like there's like local little ripples, but then there's a big curve to the ocean as well.
Where's that? I don't see that. Can you point it out on screen? Can you point that out, please?
Wow.
Sorry,
well, I mean, we're not going to see that if we're looking.
Hold on,
at,
he's about
like,
to point it out. Where's this whacking great big curve then?
Well, it was actually right next to the like in that picture I had of the Earth, like taken from the Discover satellite.
It's over there.
You can see the ocean is curving right here.
Sorry, you're saying this picture that you took. When did you take this picture?
No, it came from the Discover satellite.
Yeah, you can't take pictures from a satellite that's in a region that can't exist. That satellite is in a second law of thermodynamics violation. If that was real, that picture, then we wouldn't be breathing. We would be at the same equilibrium as the space that's claimed for it to be in. So if that region was a vacuum, we too would be a region, also a vacuum, because there's no barrier between us and the claimed place that photo was taken from. That photo is ipso facto fake because the region it's claimed to come from is fake. You can't have gas pressure without a container. To quote you, Wiggles, the gas would... don't interrupt, Wiggles. Don't be abusive like Brenda. Don't be abusive while I quote you. I want to be quoting you unimpeded. Quote, Wiggles, 2019. The gas would fill the space.
Are we ending the show now? Thank you for watching.
Yeah, I'm quoting you. The gas would fill the space, Wiggles. So that picture is fake because we can't have a vacuum next to the gas pressure we definitely experience. You've not experienced the region that picture was taken from, and that region cannot exist because we do have gas pressure. If that was a vacuum, the gas would fill the space. Quote, Wiggles, 2019.
Well, can I just say the gas would not fill the space?
Well, after you've already claimed that it would? Well, no, because that would be a second law. I'm answering you. No, because that declaration would be a second law of thermodynamics violation, Wiggles. That's the point. So no, your declaration, contrary to your original quote, won't cut the mustard. Your original quote, the gas would fill the space, would be in line with the second law of thermodynamics. The gas would not fill the space, would be pissing in the face of it. So no, it won't do, Wiggles. Sorry.
Well, this is interesting to talk about. We could talk about that later, but I just wanted to explain
why you've just used a photograph from a region that can't exist. Why would we want to go away from this absolutely devastating point that you failed to make? We asked you where the curve was on the picture. You said it's on my picture, wasn't your picture, and was very definitely fake because according to you, the gas would fill the space that picture was taken from. So that picture wasn't taken from space. Space is fake. The gas would fill the space. Quote, Wiggles, 2019.
I wonder how many times you've quoted that, Nathan. Like
lots, Wiggles, because it's true, Wiggles. Because anybody can go and reference your quote of the gas would fill the space and find it to be absolutely perfectly true.
Yeah, but my quote was when I was quoting you, so really it's your quote.
Oh, really? Have you got that? Yeah. I've got all of the screen caps. Have you? To contextualize that statement.
Well, I remember what I was saying.
That's not what I asked. I said I have got all of the screen caps from you saying it in context. Do you?
No, I don't have.
Oh well, that's a shame, isn't it, dickhead?
I mean, I'm the very
so you remember it differently, do you? You remember it differently. I bet you do. Well, I'll quote you in context. Whilst talking about space, the gas would fill the space. Quote, Wiggles, 2019.
I was...
Would you like a different quote? One that's not from you? Would you like a different quote, Wiggles? I'll give you a different quote. I'll give you a different quote, Wiggles. One that's less personal. I'll give you a different quote.
You're strawmanning me.
Without the container, why are you accusing me of a straw man? Sorry, excuse me. Why am I being accused of a straw man?
What the fuck you're doing? You're strawmanning me.
What? Explain it. Explain the straw man.
Because I'm not asserting that your atmosphere gets. I do not assert that the atmosphere will get sucked out in space. I do not in any way assert that.
Quote, Wiggles, 2019. In quotes, the gas would fill the space.
This is what I assert. There's a small layer of gas around
here. That's what you asserted. And it's absolutely correct.
And then in this region here is basically vacuum. That's what I assert.
Yeah, and the gas would fill the space.
The problem is that... No, Wiggles, the problem is you made a correct statement, and since that statement doesn't back up your claim or your side, you want to attest it. That's the problem, man. You're not realizing that. I understand that you want to fight against it, but that's the problem.
Okay, so it doesn't really matter who said it then. If you guys think it's a correct statement, I'm saying it's an incorrect statement. It doesn't really matter who made the statement.
It's not a statement. It's a second law of thermodynamics violation. And you confirm that with what you have said, what I have quoted, is in line with that fact. It's a law of nature. What do you mean it doesn't matter who states it? Well, yeah, if you correctly state it, as you have done, I will repeat it in quotes over and over and over again, because it's correct.
Well, I feel like from the beginning of the show, like it was just going to take a couple minutes to explain how I got you, Nathan. But like, I just wanted to get past that, and then we can go on to other things.
What got where? To this photograph from a second law of thermodynamics violation? It's fake, Wiggles.
No, how I got you.
You didn't. You just begged the question. And then when I asked you to give me your equivalent value of F, you didn't have one. So you didn't get anything other than to demonstrate quite admirably that you were prepared to assume a spherical radius value. So I demonstrated with your numbers that you begged the question.
I do not assume that the radius of Earth is any value. I say if the Earth is a sphere, then the radius has to be in this range.
Yeah, if the Earth is a sphere... That's the begging the question bit. You will never get this.
And I say, and then I made just for comparison, I made another claim. I said, if the Earth is flat, then Bacaloo Island is visible from the beach. Like I just right because like where I live, there's a beach. It's about 60 kilometers away from the beach. So if the Earth is flat, you should be able to see it. That's my claim. So like I claim F implies S, and it's very funny, Nathan, that you do not accuse me of assuming Earth is flat when I claim F implies S.
It's not a value. When I claim it's not R a value that you're going to use in a mathematical ratio. You don't get it, Wiggles. F isn't a value. Why are you just circle jerking us back to the same point? Every time I say this, you laugh. You laugh twice. So what's your F value? Equivalent to the R value you'll insert into the maths when you make your measurements. So we're going to make our same measurements and not use R, but in fact use F. What are you going to put in place of R? Or will you do the exact same maths but just not use the presupposition of an R value? So either it's equivalent, another different presupposition with a different value, or you're just not going to do anything. You'll just remove your presupposition.
Well, Nathan, have you ever done like any sort of like propositional
You're not answering me.
logic?
You're asking me what I will do. I have asked you a direct question. You're obfuscating it and asking me something. So what's the F value? Will this get to the point for a third time where you laugh, where you realise that I've got you
Well, Nathan, what kind of value? Give me an example of what you think I would say for an F value.
Oh, okay, I'll give you one. I'll put it up on screen. Something a bit like this. F equals... Oh, you seem to be moving off the page that I was about to use. It was your own information from you, the hostile source. So do you want to put your page back up, Wiggles? So I can use an equivalent value and show you. There it is. Let's just substitute this V for an F and then insert other similar words to what you have here. I.e. a presupposition of something. Are you abusing me? Are you abusing me? Yeah, no, you're moving it around now. Did you want to dance around it? While I have it on screen, it's there. It says V equals radius, a presupposition of a spherical value. And I want to see what shape the F will give you and what number or range of numbers you can attribute to it so that you can substitute your presupposition for your claim that I have one in an F value. So can you give me that? I've been very detailed.
No, I'm wondering like what you would expect me to say as a value for F. Just give me
I'll say it again. Listen, don't move your screen around. Yeah? Do you want to put your screen in the center so I can show the audience the value that I'm going to get you to give me an equivalent of? Your page suddenly is now not visible in the way it was, Wiggles. I don't know why you'd want to move it.
Yeah, it's because like the setup is kind of awkward because like I can't see your screen.
Who cares? Just show me what you want to show me, which is this picture of a second law of thermodynamics violation with a value for V, which you keep moving around and now you're shrinking and making bigger. What's the problem, Wiggles? Why couldn't you just leave it how it was while you were making your crap point that you thought you got me on? So with this tiny little V value, I'll circle it for the audience. You're asking me what I'd like as an equivalent, yeah? Well, you don't seem to have any presupposition of a shape in place when you call it F. You don't seem to have a range of numbers when you use F. So can you give me an equivalent to your presupposition? So what will be substituted? Because if F is just a removal of V, then we only have one presupposition, your R value. So do you have an F value?
Well, like F is a logical sentence.
Do you have an F value? Yes or no?
Like Nathan, have you ever done propositional logic or anything like that before?
Why am I getting word salad? It's a yes or no answer.
It's not word salad. Have you ever studied propositional logic?
Have you got an F value? You've got an R value. And you're saying it's equivalent when you say I have a presupposition of an F value. So what is it?
Well, I'm just like, it doesn't make any sense to me what you're asking. Like, you're
this
asking
isn't my
me
example.
If I have an F value.
You've said it's an equivalent to your R value, a presuppositional value. I'm asking you what that value is, and you don't seem to have one. Now I'm saying, like don't you have one? F, and you're saying I don't understand logic and then talking over me when I qualify it for the 5th time. So stop talking over me and just give me the equivalent, which you don't have, but won't concede.
So Nathan, a value for F here, the way I'm using it, in the way that we use variables in propositional logic, the value of F would either be true or false. And in fact, the value of R here, the way I'm using it in my notation here, would either be true or false.
What you're saying, those are the only options then, so we've got a false dichotomy.
Yeah. That's it.
So it's a false dichotomy fallacy then. So it's a false dichotomy. It's one or the other and only one or the other can be true.
What you're saying, it's a false dichotomy to have a logical variable.
Sorry, a logical variable. You think R is variable. Is that another one of Wiggles' comical laughters when he's absolutely screwed?
Well, I am screwed. I'm talking to someone who doesn't understand logic, and I'm trying to use logic. I'm screwed.
No, you're not. When we make our measurements, I just won't put in an R value, and you will. You'll take a measurement and make a whole load of measurements that revolve around R. I don't have to do any of that.
Well, I take... Wait, what are you talking about? It's like...
Oh, yeah. Wiggles, I give up. I'm out.
I'm sharing the sentiment, man. Like, I tried to use some logic here. I tried to make it really simple. Seems like we're having a disconnect here, Nathan. The chat's still going?
I'm here. Maybe we can discuss it. Maybe we can have a discussion about what you're trying to do.
Okay.
So go ahead. What are you trying to do?
Okay, so basically all I did was I asserted two claims. Like how this whole discussion started maybe like an hour ago almost by now.
I was here.
Yeah. So I'll just recap for my own sake. So like Nathan asks, do I have any evidence supporting the radius value of Earth? And I said, well, the best I can do is that I can say that if Earth is round, then the radius value has to be between 4,000 and 12,000 kilometers. Like that's a result from an experiment I did. I didn't bother to go into the details of the experiment.
Okay, I have a question for you. Can you verify this, or is this something that you believe?
No, this is like just pure geometry, math. It's not a belief.
Okay, so are you saying that you've proved the sphere with this?
No, I'm saying that I proved R implies V.
Doesn't.
You've proved that R implies V. So what is the point? I mean, are you making a point of some kind or what?
Well, my point is R implies V.
I know, but what does that mean?
That means that if Earth is round, then the radius of Earth is between 4,000 and 12,000 kilometers.
So what's your point?
That is the point.
I know, but what does that mean? I mean, you're just making a statement. It doesn't really mean anything. If you're saying if is if, that doesn't mean anything.
Well, and then when I use the analogy, like, so you're kind of familiar, like,
no, hold on. What I'm familiar with is if. You're not getting past if. So what does if mean? Is if proof? Is if something that you can verify, or is if a belief?
So like I'll use an identical example to the logic.
I don't want another example. I want to know what if means and how does that verify anything. That's the only thing I'm interested in.
Well, if is a word you put in front of a logical proposition.
But what does if mean for your proposition? What does if do for your proposition?
Helps you read the proposition, I guess.
Right, but what does it mean? I mean, when we say if, that's like a possibility. That's not a confirmation of anything. That's if, maybe, possibly, believe. That's what that means. What does if mean for your statement? What is your point? See, it seems like your point is if.
Oh, I'm just on the internet. So like the way I would kind of try to explain this would be like, say I made the statement, if two numbers are odd, then their product is odd.
Okay, so what is your point?
Well, right there, my point would be if I have, say, the number 3 and the number 5, then I multiply them together, I get 15. And 15 is an odd number.
Okay, so now can you verify that?
Well, yeah, I guess. I guess I could just.
Okay, now let's take that same situation back to your other if with the spherical thing. Can you do the same thing and verify that, or is that just a belief?
I can do the exact same thing, just the same way I calculate 3 times 5.
Right, but here's the thing. This is what I'm missing. See, I can understand how you can check the numbers and verify them to see if they're correct. Now, how are you doing that with this sphere? What are you doing to check, to verify your if with the sphere? We know how you can do it on numbers with paper. Now, how do you do it with the sphere? That's what I'm wondering. How do you get that if to translate into a verification of a sphere?
Okay, I think I might understand your question. So what I do is I just, I had this calculator I use. Where did I put that? Miscellaneous.
So long story short, does this if verification or is it a belief?
It's not a belief.
Okay, so how do you verify it? By writing some numbers on paper, or do you actually have some verification other than numbers on a page?
Yeah, so can you see my
Yeah, I see a bunch of illustrations, but that's not what I'm asking you. I'm asking you, how does this if translate to reality?
Okay, so it's like James, you see like the diagram I've drawn here, like this
Yeah, I saw it
circle?
the first time. Yeah, it's just numbers. It's just a die. How does that, what does that have to do with the earth? That's a piece of paper with drawings on it. What am
Yeah,
I?
it's like,
It doesn't mean anything.
well, this this drawing, right? Like it comes from when I assume that Earth is
Exactly.
round.
See, you assume. See, all you're talking about is a lot of ifs and a lot of assumptions.
Yeah, it's begging
Yeah,
the
you make an
question.
assumption and then you see what follows from that
No,
assumption.
in your
Right,
assumption, you have an
and
R
then you write
value.
it down on paper, and then you think you have something. So then you believe what the paper's telling you, correct?
Well, then we got to remember that we made an assumption, and then we just
Correct.
then we package that all up by saying that R implies feet.
So let me ask you this: do you believe what you're reading on this paper?
Well, I mean, I made the spreadsheet. I just did the geometry.
I didn't. That's not my question. I'm asking you: do you believe these results that you're reading?
Well, the geometry, I don't need to believe it. It's 100% true. It's geometry. It's math.
Okay, so it's geometry. So now I translate that to the earth. In other words, we see how it's working on paper. Now what I'm asking you is, how does that work in reality? I know the difference between paper and reality. You're on paper and you're saying that that verifies something. I'm trying to ask you, how does that compare to reality?
Well, okay. So how this compares to reality, what I would do is this, there's a point here where I'm mousing over like that.
Okay, listen here. This is what I'm going to do. Wiggles, listen, I'm kind of done with this. I've made my point. You can go ahead further if you want to, but what I'm stating is that you've never done anything with this if. This if is nothing but a possibility, a belief. Now, I don't want to keep going round and round with this because it's just going to go on forever. So I'm kind of done. If somebody else wants to talk about it, you can, but I have no further questions.
Nathan, are you going to have a second show?
Yes.
Okay, then I'll hold off for that. But yeah, I mean, so I want to do a little, maybe at the start of the next show, a little quick presentation on air pressure and air pressure gradient and how we can have one within a container.
Sure. I'll just round out this point with Wiggles, and then you can go ahead, Chris. So what Wiggles is saying is, if the Earth is a sphere, then it will have a radius of thus. And then he has a radius of thus in his presupposed calculator, therefore the Earth is a sphere. So when we started off this conversation, I pointed out that it would be an affirming the consequent fallacy, and he's basically provided that if Earth is a sphere, then X amount of geometry will be observed, X amount of geometry is observed, therefore R. So he's got R already in the calculation that he's going to be comparing to prove R. You've already got R in this calculation. So if you're trying to prove Earth a sphere, how come you've already got Earth as a sphere in the calculation?
Well, Nathan, what I said, I thought I made it kind of clear. I'm not proving that Earth is a sphere. I'm just proving it's not flat. That's really
You're
all
not
I care
proving
about
it's not
doing.
flat. How are you proving it's not flat? Does your calculation include the actual optics that will be used to compare when you compare your model to reality?
Well, the way that we do, it's just like really dead simple almost. It's like this is like I probably shared this image before. It's just like the ocean getting in the way of distant objects.
Yeah, sorry, my question again, just so it's repeated. In your calculation for what you have already declared is simply geometry, have you accounted for optics?
So what do you mean by accounting for optics?
What are optics, Wiggles? Are we using optics for these pictures?
Well, they're pictures like we
so
take
that would be a yes then, would it?
Right?
Just a simple yes or no. Are we using optics for these pictures? Yes or no?
That's sort of a weird question. Like it's
a yes or no question. Yes or no? Were these optical representations of reality using optics to attain them? Yes or no? I'd have thought the answer was obvious. Clearly, Wiggles thinks it's a trick question.
Well, I mean, the pictures were taken by a camera.
So would that be a yes, Nathan? These absolutely utilise optics
I guess so, sure.
Yes, excellent. Now show me where that's accounted for in your calculator, please.
Well, the calculator is just
put your calculator on. Put it on screen now.
Okay.
Where is the optics accounted for? Namely, the Rayleigh criterion. Where is it?
No, what the curve calculation, all it does is just calculate the height of the height of the obstruction of the object.
So let me get it straight. You're going to compare something that's only dealing with geometry with something that's optical in nature. Well, no, Wiggles, that's totally incorrect. That would mean that you would ignore the very aspect of optics that's been used to acquire the thing you're going to compare to a geometric only calculation. Well, that's not a fair comparison, is it, Wiggles?
Well, so Nathan, what all I'm doing, right, is like the y. I'm just letting y be the height of the obstruction of the object, right?
Sorry, you've just shown us that you'll compare it to optical based information. And I've asked you to show me, you're yet to do it, where optics are taken into account. And you've said it's geometry only. Therefore, not comparable to the pictures you've shown. I don't know why you've shown them. I want to get to the end of this live show with you understanding that your calculator isn't calculating what you're seeing, because what you're seeing takes into account optics and you haven't accounted for that. So why are these being compared to your calculator, Wiggles?
Well, Nathan, if I say I got a fence in my backyard and I don't know, calculating the height of the post, and then like I got another post, like say in the middle of my backyard, and I stand behind the post. I'm just trying to calculate what the height of the post I can see or what the height of the post I can't see is based on like what's blocked by the first post. Like that's just a geometry problem. It's like this is a classic problem that you might be given in like high school, like calculate the height of the flagpole given that this angle is this shadow is this. It's just that type of problem.
Sorry, Wiggles. Where in your calculation does it factor in the optical nature of the pictures you are comparing the calculation to? Does it account for optics? You've already told us it doesn't. So it's not comparing the actual information you're using. You're only using geometry, therefore excluding things like perspective, which is absolutely there in the pictures you're using.
Okay, so Nathan, maybe it'll be useful. Actually, I thought like everyone was kind of familiar with the high school geometry, but I'll just go through an example of it, I guess. Like, so like we have a flag that's this
Sorry,
high.
why are you still pressing on without acknowledging a word I've said?
Well, I'm
Wait,
trying to get
Asperger's.
Sorry,
Wiggle,
Chris,
do you have Asperger's?
No, as what I do is I listen to the thing Nathan says. It's sort of like I think he's confused a little bit, so I try to go through an example that will try to clarify it for everyone. That's the way
There's no clarity needed. There's no clarity required. What's on screen now, this picture that I've got on screen, includes perspective. It also includes diffraction limit based on the aperture of the camera. Now, those things which are absolutely present in this picture, i.e. things that are in the near foreground, like this tree, for example, can seem like they take up half the frame. Yeah? Now, I'm not going to give you a feet and inches measurement. I'm going to say by virtue of perspective, this tree literally takes up half of the frame. Whereas over here on this mountain, this tree takes up 16 pixels. So it's the same size tree in feet and inches, but your calculation doesn't take that into effect. In other words, the things that are in the near foreground will have the same measurement attributed to them as the things in the far distance. Therefore, optics, the thing you are comparing it to, is not included, therefore not comparable, Wiggles.
Well, Nathan, with all due respect, what you're getting on with is bullshit.
So you're saying that you can just exclude the very nature of the thing that took those pictures and the workings of those things, optics, when comparing it to an optics exclusive calculation, and you think that's reasonable?
Well, it looks like Yeah, so it's a simple geometry problem.
So you've literally gone silent for 2 minutes and then just carried on with your point, ignoring everything I've just said.
I was checking out G. John Gonzalez. He seems like his hangout thing is going now.
Hey, Wiggles, before you leave, or before Nathan ends, I just want to counter one of your points. Can you bring up your picture of the CN Tower again, please?
I can do that. Here it is.
So part of Nathan's point is if you're not taking in optics and atmospherics into account, into your equations and into the maths and your tests, then you're not taking into account the real world reality and real world scenarios. So everybody can see on the left, there's sort of a blank test, and then what you actually see, right? And it says, why is the bottom missing? So if I can present real fast.
Well, I mean, the bottom is missing because the ocean is in the way, but go ahead.
Okay, so that's the whole that's the whole point of this hour-long conversation with you, is that is it's an assumption to say that the bottom is missing because of X when you haven't proven X. Okay, so let me take over and show you a demonstration that we can do and show in real world, based on real world phenomena, based on atmospherics and how we know the atmosphere to work. So I'll share real quick, and then Nathan probably will round out the show, but if he hasn't already. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, you see the CN Tower here?
Oh, I saw this before. It was a pretty cool trick.
Yeah, it's really cool because it makes perfect logical sense. So why can I not see the bottom of the rest of the city in the CN Tower? Is it because it's over a curve?
Yeah, so my rebuttal to this actually was, what happens if you lift the camera up higher? Do you then see the bottom of the tower?
That's not the question. Why can't I see? You said you can't see the bottom of the CN Tower because of the water is in the way because of a curve. Why can't I see it in this example? Is this table curved?
No, well, you're refracting the light around.
Oh, you're refracting the light. Now, what would cause refraction in the real world? The atmosphere? So let me hit play and watch as he moves closer to this this lens, which is acting as an atmosphere. Now look at that. As he gets closer, wow, what do you know? You can see more of this tower and the bottom of the buildings. And when he does his blink test, it matches up pretty much perfectly with the one you did.
Yeah, no, I've seen that before. It's a cool trick.
It's not a trick. He took real world observations. Oops, sorry. He took real world observations and knowledge and applied that information, and he performed a test, and that test mimics the real world.
Yeah, but then
you took some numbers on a piece of paper and said you proved something. There's a huge difference.
Oh, but I want to see, like, if he's trying to explain that's why the bottom of the building disappears. I want to know if, like, well, if you lift up the camera, can you see the whole tower? Because that's what happens in real life.
He didn't assert it. I didn't even hear any words on the video. He demonstrated it visually. Now, clearly, that's an effect that can take place. Now, that would be, let me wonder what the word would be. Oh, yeah, an optical effect. Now, you've made it clear there are no optical considerations in your geometric-only calculator. So it's a false equivalence, one where you ignore perspective and ignore optical effects, and then call the effects that actually take place on your optical-based pictures curvature. They're not. They're optical effects. The very thing you ignore and say isn't necessary.
Well, what I was doing, I was just solving a basic geometry problem, but it seems like people don't understand what that means when I say that, so I was going to go through a basic geometry problem just so people are familiar with that then.
We understand geometry, but what we're saying that you're not getting is geometry isn't the only thing you have to take into account. Do you understand that?
Well, I don't, like...
Do you understand that geometry on a piece of paper is not the only thing you have to take into account in the real world?
Well, I would think that it's pretty obvious when you can tell when one object is obstructing another object. I think that's pretty obvious.
What, like in Chris's demonstration that we've just seen? Yeah, Wiggles will never concede that only using his optical exclusive geometry-only calculator will only ever result in him begging the question. He'll never ever get it because he's a fundamentalist, globehead, religious zealot. And with that, I'll say if you're watching this on Nathan Oakley 1980 channel, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. However, if you're watching this live on the Nathan Oakley channel, unfortunately, this is where we bid you farewell. A massive, huge, enormous thank you to all who tuned in, smashed the super chat, shared, liked, subscribed, all that good stuff. Also, a massive thank you to all of today's live panel for making today's debate possible. I've been Nathan Oakley. Be sure to check out the nathanoakley.com Flat Earth Debate Forum. I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Can demonstrate that exact same phenomenon, and now you're changing the goalpost and saying, well, oh, what happens if you lift it, though? We're not talking about what happens if you lift it. We're talking about what you showed and what I countered.
Yeah, but if this explanation is, if really the Earth is flat and it's this optical phenomenon is why the objects are disappearing, then or being obstructed,
Sorry,
then
it's
I would
not a
want to know.
supposition.
Well,
God,
okay, well, if this explanation is true,
Wiggles,
then
Wiggles,
when the camera gets lifted up,
Wiggles,
you should
it's not a
see the bottom of
supposition.
the object.
Wiggles, it's not a supposition. It's not an if statement on paper. It's a demonstration of optical effects. So he's not supposing that maybe if we change the camera, we'll see the bottom reappear. It's a optical demonstration of exactly that happening. And that does happen. It's not a presupposition made by a fundy, you. It's an actual demonstration of it actually occurring. So while you might say in your actual demonstration, rather than presupposition, you could lift the camera, well, we didn't say that to you when you presented your blink test. Well, if you just lifted the camera, he'd get above the waves that's obscuring it due to perspective. We just said, no, where's the optical account in your mathematics? And there isn't one. Because basically all your mathematics do is call optical effects curvature. So all optical effects are removed and all you're left with is an assertion of Earth curve. So suddenly, when you believe you're on a sphere, there's no optical effects anymore, which is nonsense.
Can I make a quick comment?
Well, yeah, well, I'm probably going to leave very shortly now, but I just want to ask you, Chris, do you know what happens, like in Rob Skiba's demonstration, when he lifts the camera up? Has he done that?
Hey, Wiggles, real quick before
No,
Chris...
I'm asking Chris, though.
I know, but you're red herring.
Yeah, total red herring.
Right now.
Yeah, we wouldn't get away with doing that on your blink test, would we? Would we?
All
that would happen if we did that on Wiggles' blink test is Wiggles would assert that you've got above the Earth curve. Absolutely nothing to do with lifting the camera, just getting above Earth curve, because the optics would be ignored and it would just be the Earth curve that would be the reason why we could see and we couldn't before. No optics. So raising the camera, nothing to do with optics, just Earth curve obstruction being reduced.
So we don't. So do we or do we not know what happens when Rob Skiba lifts up his camera in his demonstration there?
What is demonstration of optics affecting the bottom of things being visible? Yeah, optics affect the bottom of things being visible, you red herring using asshole. Yeah, they are absolutely in effect when you use a camera and completely ignored from your calculation. Are you going to address that, or just keep asking if Rob Skiba raised his camera?
Well, Rob Skiba didn't raise his camera.
Oh, you are just going to stick with this red herring indefinitely, asshole. Yeah, your maths doesn't include this effect, Wiggles. Why not?
Like, if Rob Skiba raises his camera and then the bottom of the...
Your maths doesn't include this effect that you're now arguing about. So who cares? It's not included in your maths.
I'm not even talking about my maths. I'm talking...
Yeah, we are. We're talking about your maths. And the fact it doesn't include this effect. It's not included. The only effect that's ever used as the cause is Earth curve, excluding all optics. It's geometric only. But what are you comparing the geometric only, non-optic maths with? Well, you're comparing them with pictures.
All I'm trying to say is if Rob Skiba lifts up his camera...
Yeah, you just want to use your bloody red herring indefinitely. And I'm tired of it. You're not addressing us. We're saying this effect that you're now arguing about, the raising and lowering of the camera, that if it was your picture that we were using this argument with, you'd blame on Earth curve excluding all optics, this very effect that you're now detailing is not included in your calculation.
Because light, for the most part, travels in straight lines.
Oh, really? So we don't observe perspective? It's just fucking Muppet vision only? Straight lines? No, my friend. These lines on screen converge at the centre. They're not straight. They're converging at a midpoint. That's called perspective. Same in your pictures. They also converge. Not straight, converging perspective lines. Excluded in your geometry calculator.
Muppet vision is the same drawing technique that engineers use to design parts.
And is that what we're looking at now on screen? Are we looking at this picture of mountains in Muppet vision, otherwise known as orthographic view? Is this an orthographic view, or is this an optical representation of reality? Not a schematic. This is a picture, like the ones you had up, Wiggles.
Schematics are useful for what
Is
we're doing
this
here.
a schematic?
Well, that's not, but...
Right, were your pictures that you compared to your schematic mathematics, were they schematics, the one with the blink test?
Well,
no, they weren't, Wiggles. They were optical in nature, unlike your calculator.
Hey, Wiggles, can I ask you a question? You made a statement. You made a statement that all light travels in a straight line. Is that right?
For the most part, yeah.
Okay, I just got a video I just dropped in the side chat that shows that that's not true.
I know it's not true.
But you just said it. You just said that light always travels in a straight line.
I said, this caveat, it mostly travels in straight lines.
Okay.
Yeah, I know it bends a little bit, but it mostly travels in straight lines.
Okay.
So why does it bend a little bit? What causes the bending?
Refraction.
Okay, what causes refraction in the atmosphere?
Well, I mean, you could ask in science, like what we do is just kind of observe something happening. We define quantities and just...
I'll just answer for him because he's a dick. He doesn't have any of those accounted for in his mathematics. He only has the begging the question presupposition of an R value and 7/6 attributed to it, because he in his mathematics will use something called terrestrial refraction. He will not use anything to do with the actual conditions. He will just use the presupposition that Earth has a radius value, R, and then he'll flatten it out with 7/6R. Terrestrial refraction, an arbitrary begging the question on steroids applied to his already presupposed sphere.
Well, I thank you for your time, Nathan, but I think I'm just going to go. I think this is unproductive.
Yeah, because you're a fundy zealot who never ever concedes anything ever. So you've reified a model, you've used geometry where we're comparing to optics, you've not conceded that you're fallacious in your begging the question assertions. So yeah, I'd sod off too if I'd lost as badly as you had, Wiggles.
Okay, I'd have fun with your last word. I think this is unproductive. See you.
Yeah,
You're
unproductive for
definitely
you, because you're a fundy zealot who won't concede anything.
Going dancing tonight, Wiggles. Sorry, Nathan, I have to get that in, mate. Good show, by the way, Nathan. Very good.
I like Wiggles, he's a good guest. A bit like Brenda, but less irritating.
Alright. Wiggles is a little less trolly and more very seriously indoctrinated.
He laughs
zealot,
when
as you
he's
say.
screwed. When he's completely screwed, he laughs.
Yes.
Something strange when you ask a person a basic question, a basic yes or no question, and instead of saying yes or no, they move on to something else to try and obfuscate. That's one of my pet peeves.
It's the red herring.
Yeah, one time he left a massive gap and then just carried on anyway. Like if I leave a long enough pause, they won't notice that I've not answered the question.
Well, when I don't want to address something, I do it as well. But I'm not going to try to deny that I'm doing that. But for some reason, many Globers just take red herring strategies for granted. Like it's the normal thing to do.
I think we need to start calling them out. As soon as they start red herring, just call it out.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Kyle guy on my show, especially the second time he came on. He was red herring me like continually. Eventually, I just got tired of asking him about it, and then it all went to global warming and all that. So yeah, total successful red herring in that sense. I just couldn't get him to concede that he couldn't get an independent variable out of gravity. Just, yeah. Wouldn't do it. Wouldn't even entertain the thought of responding to that.
So you guys like my Yeti? Is it working good?
Oh, you got a new mic?
I'm just using the one I've always had. It's just I'm trying to figure out how to make it work with chasing Lily across the house.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting on a stool by the bar with a laptop and the Yeti, and Lily's sitting on my lap and on the stool. So it's been kind of cumbersome, but I'm making it work.
Yeah, sounds good.
Actually, Paul, it's coming in very clear. I can understand every word you're saying. Before it was you were kind of mixing up with different crackles and pops and causing your speech to slur.
I had a word with him. I'm like, Paul, you're one of the stronger members on the panel, and we can hardly hear what you're saying. And he was like, I've got a Yeti in my cupboard. I was like, you're having a laugh, right?
Nathan, it said you changed my volume. Was that too low or too hot?
You're perfect.
Oh, okay.
Everyone's good. Right, I'll round out the after show and then we'll do another. So with that, I will say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the Nathan Oakley 1980 audience for tuning into this premiering stream, hopefully sharing, subscribing, smashing the super chat, all that good stuff. Also, if you want to keep yourself occupied after this stream is over, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. Another massive thank you to all of today's debating panel. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in...
The bad thing.
I'll see you all in the next video. Should learn to meet the panel.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!